Hey everybody, it's Lindsay, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my nail care and nail polish tips and tricks, because if you don't watch my videos you might not know this, but if you do watch them you probably do know that I love nail polish. It's my favorite thing, cosmetic, beauty wise. I love it because it never goes bad like almost all other cosmetics. You know, they have an expiration date. Nail polish never does. And I don't know, I just feel like sometimes, you know, your skin can look kind of gross. You could do the same makeup routine every day and sometimes it looks great and sometimes it looks crappy. You can have horrible hair days. With nails, I mean, sometimes you break a nail, but I feel like for the most part, you paint them once, it's gonna look the same time it's gonna look the same way every time you paint them. Nails are just pretty much easy for me and I like them. So that is just kind of the little intro. I have a lot to share and I wrote some notes so I don't forget anything, so if you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. I have been painting my nails for years and years, ever since I was very young. I do not pay to get manicures. Very rarely will I ever get pay to have someone give me a manicure, just because my nails are very soft and they chip so easily. So for me to spend, you know, 20 bucks or whatever to get my nails painted, when I could buy a couple nail polishes myself and paint them myself, you know, so that's just my choice. You know, I know saying that I have soft, peely nails, people are going to suggest all these things for me. I've tried lots of things over the years. Nothing has really worked. I do take biotin. I take 5,000 micrograms of biotin a day. If you're not familiar with that, it's just a B vitamin that's supposed to help your hair and nails. So I do take that, and I do some things that have helped me make my nail polish last longer. But all right, so I will get to the tips. First of all, when prepping your nails, you want to get rid of you know, dried up dead cuticles. So I use the Sally Hansen Instant Cuticle Remover, and no lie, this is so old, this same little tube, and I am right here on it, and I use it, like, I don't use this definitely not every time I paint my nails, because I paint them every 2-3 days and it's not necessary to remove your cuticles that often. Probably once every week, 2 weeks. But I've had this for so many years, no lie, like 4 years plus, and I'm only halfway through. And so I went to the grocery store, I went to Walmart, and they do still sell this, because if I'm gonna recommend it, I wanna make sure it's something you can still get. But this is a cuticle dissolver, and what you do is it has like just a little squeeze tip, and you just put it around your cuticles, and it says not to let, or after 15 seconds, begin to gently push back cuticles. And it says, you know, it says not to leave it on too long. I've never had an issue with it burning my nails or anything like that. So, I mean, I don't worry about it. Maybe my bottle's old, so it's not as good anymore, but I leave it on for a little while, and then I take an orange stick. You know, actually, let me show you what I use. I didn't bring it over here. Right, so I wanted to grab you what I use. An orange stick is just, those wooden sticks that they give you in nail packs and things like that to push your cuticles back. This one is actually from Elf. It came 2 in a pack for $1, I think, and it has like the cuticle pusher on the end here, and it's a soft rubber, and then a pointed edge here, and you can push back your cuticles with it. And then what I do is, after putting on the cuticle dissolver, I just kind of scrape along the bottom of my nail, and it scrapes all of that thin cuticle that just kind of sticks to your nails, and then doesn't look great when you paint over it. I just kind of scrape that off and then wipe it on a tissue, and it takes a cuticle that's on your nail off so easily. So lots of people have different opinions on this. I cut my cuticles off because they're ugly, they get dry. I know there are people who say that you can get, you know, bacteria can get in there and then you can get infections. I've been doing this for years and years. It's never happened to me, so if you're worried about that, you don't even do this. I'm not trying to, you know, recommend something that may not be good for you, but I take one of these cuticle trimmers. I got this at CVS. I think it's Revlon brand or Lacrosse, or I think it's probably Lacrosse. And then after I've done the cuticle dissolver and pushed my cuticles back, then for the cuticles that are along more the skin here, I just go along and carefully trim them off. And it's just dead skin, so it doesn't hurt. You have to get some practice with this, because you don't want to get your skin, because that will hurt and then you will bleed. So that's what I do. I guess while talking about cuticles, at night, I don't do this every night. I probably should do it every night, but I try to do a cuticle treatment. I always do, I always put hand lotion on my hands, but a couple months ago I picked this up. It's just from Sally Beauty Supply, and it's just the little Sally Girl nail polish, and this is actually cuticle oil. And so at night I put my lotion on, and then I just put the cuticle oil on every finger on my cuticles, rub it in a little bit, go to sleep. I think nighttime is the best time to do anything for your cuticles, because you're not going to be washing it off, brushing it off. I mean, brushing it off on your sheets and things a little bit, but for the most part you can just let it sink in all night and it'll do the most for you. This Sally Girl cuticle oil I mean, it's good. I'm not saying that this is the only one you can try, but it was 99 cents, so I'm actually headed to Sally's today, so I'll probably try and pick up something new, but that's what I've been using. If you have staining from a previous nail polish, sometimes if you wear, especially reds are notorious for doing this, they will stain your nails a yellow color. And if you don't want that, take a nail buffer, just a very, very fine grit nail buffer. You can just buff it off a little bit. You can try washing it. Another thing that I do, I don't do this very often at all because I rarely have this problem, but sometimes when you're taking off a nail polish, anything bright, anything dark, it can stain the skin around your nails. It can stain your cuticles, it can stain your fingers, and it can stain your nails. To do that, to get rid of that, I use a little bit of bleach. Again, this may not be the best thing for your nails, but you don't do it that often, but it works amazing. It takes everything off your nails. I like to use the Clorox bleach pen because it's more of a gel. So then I just kind of put it right on my fingers, I rub it in for a little bit, I don't leave it sit at all, and then I wash it right off, and your nails are bright white, they're beautiful, your skin is completely clean. Also, I've used cleaners that have like a bleach cleaner or something. I know that sounds horrible, like that's so drying, but it really isn't, because you're just putting it on, it takes it off right away. You're not sitting with it on or anything and then you just wash it off, or just a little bit of bleach with a cotton ball or something like that. But that will really clean off dingy nails and skin. And then to prevent your nails from staining, you need to use a base coat. Base coats help fill ridges, they help your nail polish last longer, but the biggest thing is that they help keep your nail polish from staining your natural nails. So one that I used for a long time was the Orly Bonder. This is just a very thin rubberized base coat. I don't use this anymore because for me, I didn't notice it doing anything, and my nails still stained underneath it because it's not like a top coat or a normal base coat that feels like a nail polish. It is very thin, it dries very quickly. I know there are lots of people who do like this. For me, it didn't really do as much for me. So over the past couple months, I have been using OPI Nail Envy, and this one that I just picked up is for soft and thin nails, because I have very soft, thin, peely nails. I don't know if it helps me that much for that, but it does completely prevent staining on my nails, and it makes them, because it is a real nail polish, it makes them a little bit harder, which helps my nail polish last longer. So I like the Nail Envy. It is pretty expensive though, $16 or $17 for this bottle, depending on where you get it. So definitely pricier. Most people I don't think would need something like this. For me, I think it helps. I'm not exactly sure though. Alright, so then when actually painting your nail, you want to be careful that you don't go too close to your cuticle. If you've ever had your nails professionally done, you know that they don't go very close to your cuticle at all. Just because it looks a lot cleaner if it's just a little bit further out from your cuticle and then the nail polish goes the rest of the way off your nail. Because if you get too close to the cuticle, then some of the nail polish will get on the cuticle, some will get under the cuticle, and it just makes it, gives it a jagged line, makes it not look as polished and nice. So be very careful not to go all the way to your cuticles, but if you do, which I do all the time by accident, I take my thumbnail and just kind of, I don't know if I can show you, just scrape along the outside of my skin. If I get a little bit, if I get the nail polish too wide, if I get it on my cuticle, I just take my thumbnail and scrape it right off, and that seems to work for me. if you're done painting your nails and you still have nail polish around your cuticles, I've heard some people talk about taking a Q-tip in nail polish remover and using that. For me, I've never found that that works because a Q-tip is huge compared to the little tiny bit of nail polish that you're trying to get off, and often it'll mess up the nail that is painted. So if you just have a tiny bit, try using a wooden toothpick soaked in nail polish remover. A toothpick is very thin, so you're able to really get around your cuticles and clean them up. Also, if cleaning it up with your thumb didn't work and you know you're not going to do the toothpick, I often use a nail file, not a harsh one or a really rough one. This one's pretty soft, and just kind of, you know, if you have shorter nails like I do and you get nail polish at the bottom here, I just take the nail file and just kind of file it off my skin, and that seems to work really well too. Also, just washing your nails or washing your hands, you know, the natural oils in your skin will help lift off any nail polish that you get around your cuticles. All right, so if you are a beginner to painting your nails, my recommendation would be to start with a sheer color. If you try to go with a light color that is completely opaque, you know, not see-through at all, like those beautiful light pinks or whites or anything like that that's opaque, you are gonna have a hard time looking even along the bottom of the nail. I mean, I have a hard time getting my nail polish to look even with very opaque colors. So starting with a sheer color, it's much more foolproof, much easier to work with. So that would be my recommendation for that. When it comes time to actually paint your nails, paint your dominant hand first. I don't want this to sound confusing, so I am right-handed. This is my right hand. So I always paint my right hand first, and that is because if I go and what your natural instinct is to paint your left hand first because you're using your right hand, which is your dominant hand if you're right-handed. But that makes it then much harder when your nails are wet for you to paint your right hand because you have your wet nails, so you're trying to be extra careful. So what really has worked for me, I learned this many years ago, I've done it ever since. I paint my right hand first because my left I'm not the best at, but my nails are dry, so that makes it a little bit easier for me. And then I can paint my left hand with my dominant hand, and even though my nails are wet, it's my dominant hand, so I'm gonna be a little bit better at it than I would if I was trying to do it with my left hand. So I hope that made sense, but that really helps a lot. Another trick is start away from you and work towards you. You know, start with your pinky and work towards you, because if you go the other way, you could easily see like nick a wet nail. So if you start away from you, your chances of nicking wet nails are much less likely. Also, if you have trouble with bumping your nails or anything while they're wet, paint your nails while doing something that you're not going to be using your hands that much. I paint my nails with the computer. I paint them at the computer all the time. That's always where I paint my nails because I'm just like this, maybe moving a mouse, but you're really not doing anything that's going to mess up your nails, and it's the perfect spot because you can do other things, paint them while watching TV, anything like that you're not going to be needing to move your fingers and possibly mess up the nails that you just painted. All right, so then once I have put on my base coat, painted 1 or 2 or 3 coats of nail polish, while the final coat is still wet, I wait 2 minutes, and then I use Sally Hansen Insta-Dry, and this is probably my 4th bottle that I've gone through this in the past year and a half. I go through this all the time. I use this every single time I paint my nails. There are other things that do the same thing, but this is from the drugstore, and it's so cheap, and I love it. It's in the red bottle, Insta-Dry, and you just paint that over your nails 2 minutes after you've done your final coat, and within 30 seconds they are dry to the touch. I mean, if you took your nail and scratched them, if you bumped them, they would smudge, but you can take your fingers over them, you know, pretty much immediately, and it really helps dry all of the layers, because otherwise nail polish can take forever to dry and you don't have time to just sit here like this for a couple hours. So the Sally Hansen Insta-Dry, I completely recommend. I have never used a whole bottle down to the very bottom because mine gets kind of gross. It can get air bubbles in it. Once you start to get to the bottom, it gets kind of cloudy. So, but it's really reasonable. I get it at the drugstore, and so I replace this pretty often. I use the Sally Hansen Insta-Dry pretty much every single time I paint my nails, and I almost never use another top coat over this just because I don't have time. This makes it pretty shiny on its own. I mean, it's not the shiniest top coat, but it does make them shiny on its own. And usually by this point, I'm ready to be done painting my nails. And I don't have nail polish that lasts 6-7 days like, you know, on some people's nails. So I don't need to usually refresh my top coat. But if I really want some extra shine, I really like the Sally Hansen Diamond Strength Diamond Shine. It's in the all metallic bottle. This stuff is amazing. It will give you top coat like glass. It looks so glossy and beautiful, and this is drugstore, so really reasonable. So I guess my last tip, I know I am probably forgetting something that I do, and I know I probably haven't answered all of your questions, but this is my last tip for people who get split nails. All right, so this always happens to me. My nails are very short right now because I filed them all down, but it always happens on your most beautiful long nail that is so, you know, perfect and long and that you've been babying. You get the slit right in the middle of your nail, and you know that if, you know, you tear it off or if it gets torn off, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna bleed, it's gonna mess up your nail, you're gonna have to grow it out forever again. What do? This happens to me all the time, and I have to fix it right away or it will bother me and I will rip it off. So what I do is take a little bit of super glue, I just dot it right on where it is ripped. And then I let it there for a little bit, and it's not going to completely dry just by letting it there. But then I take a nail file like this and and file it down so it's flush with my nail. I do that another time, maybe a third time, and then keep filing it down in between, and then I paint over it. And that will last me a good couple of days. It will give me a good couple of days. And then I'll do it again if I'm trying to grow that nail out. But that is what I have found has really worked for me when I get those split nails that are too low to rip off or that you just don't want to rip off. The super glue really works for me. So one recommendation with that, do not have nail polish on when you do that, or you will never get that nail polish off your nail. If you have nail polish on already and you don't want to completely undo it, what I've done is just taken a Q-tip and removed the nail polish right around the area and then done the super glue and then just painted that little section right over. Because if you put super glue on top of that nail polish will never come up. I mean, it will, but it doesn't come off with nail polish remover. So those are my tips. I know this video is so long, but I have lots of little tips and tricks of things that I've learned over the years painting my own nails that have worked for me and helped me. And I hope that some of these things can help you and maybe you learn something. If you have suggestions for me, if you have your own little tips that you want to share with everybody else, please comment below. I want to learn some new things to help me with my nails, and I think we can all learn from each other. So also, if you have any other questions for me, please ask, and I will talk to you soon. See ya.